So I'm going to, oh, what happened here? Now I'm double. Can you hear me now? Okay, I thought I was talking double. Hey, Kat, how's it going? Thanks for joining me. Um, let's see. I'm going to switch this camera. I'm going to swap these around. So I got these figures out, and I'm going to take this off because, well, I'm going to leave it. So here's one of the things that I think that it's important to kind of like know before you get started doing head swaps and stuff like that, or just messing around with your figures. If you look at the way this figure is built, these are kind of like the newer ones. They come with a double neck joint. So they do have another joint down here. And sometimes if you just go to pull the head off, like this one, you could end up taking the entire neck with you. And then there's another little peg down here. Some of these older figures, the way they worked, and I'll just show you with this roadblock, is if you just grab them under the chin. Now you want to kind of look a little bit before you get started because you want to be able to see the ball. If some of the older figures have a little bit different kind of a peg that went in there, and you really do want to heat those up before you pull them off. I actually heated this one to get that head off because I wanted to make sure that I knew what it was like. And I'll usually just get like a blow dryer and I'll just like put the blow dryer right here and heat up like the head and stuff like that before I pull it off. But if you have a newer figure like this who doesn't really have, or doesn't really have that like lower neck joint, you could just pop this off like that, and you'll see that like this joint right here is got a big gigantic ball on it, and the head just comes right off. Now, some of the figures that are made for the heads that come with the alternate heads are all built like this. Some of the ones that they don't really want you to like take the head off, you can see underneath. Let me just pull these up. You can see underneath that the setup is a little bit different inside, where it's got this extra layer of grip to help hold the head on. Now that's to prevent people from like just losing the heads or whatever. So I don't understand like why the G.I. Joe Classified series, if they didn't come with alternate heads, were built like that, until I started seeing like the alternate version of Roadblock came out. Then it was like, okay, they're just reusing the same body mold. Hey Josh, how's it going? I see you there. And so one of the things as I wanted to start with was I was going to put this Carl Weathers head on this roadblock. I'm not going to push it down too hard because I think it's going to end up having to get my blow dryer out, which I didn't want to do. And the skin tone's not like completely a match. But, like when I was talking about doing the head swaps with my G.I. Joes and making them like more age appropriate, I almost think like this would be like a good alternative for Roadblock. Of course, if the skin tone was a little bit better. So Carl Weathers is a little bit more aged appropriate for if he was actually like one of the G.I. Joes back in the 80s when I was collecting, right? He would be G.I. Joe age appropriate for today. And I keep doing this age appropriate thing. I got to get this camera thing situated. So I think if the skin tone was better, I think that would actually be like a really cool looking roadblock. I don't know. What do you guys think? You just throw it in the comments or whatever if you like that look. But this is what, of course, what he looks like. Now, I got him on top of the ball. That's why his neck looks so long. But I wish that the skin tone was more of a match. I might pop that on there and like leave it. I know I can always go touch it up, but I'm trying to prevent doing that, right? Like, so what do I touch up, the head or the body? And then, of course, I'll never get them back to the way they are. But anyway, so you know that. Thanks, I appreciate that. I was looking forward to doing it, and then once I got the head off, Josh, he said he liked it. I noticed the skin tones were way off, and it's just not going to be a good fit. But there are two different things that can happen. Is like, so when I originally gripped the head and tried to pull it off, the entire neck came out, and what I'm talking about is I actually did this Anakin Skywalker earlier, and I know he looks like kind of like crazy. Um, let's see, hold on. Josh says he likes it. Hey, how's it going? Welcome to the channel. Oh, you know what? That's a good idea. I do have Mr. T. He's in that the Marvel or the Mattel Elite box. I got to go dig it out of my closet, though. I should have been more prepared. Oh, yeah. See, both of you are in that. I'm going to grab them in a little bit. So when you pull like some of these heads off, they'll come off with the neck. And this is what happened when I pulled the Anakin off. Now, it's no big deal because I have the neck and head. But what I wanted to do is I'll show you guys now what I did just to start. I actually had taken off my Darth Vader head. And earlier, a while back, I realized Darth Vader has a much different head because he doesn't really have a neck because of the way the helmet situates on his body. And he's got this double gigantic ball joint, right, that sits down in that hole on his shoulders. And so there's not a whole lot of head swaps you can do, but now that you can pull the necks, this is kind of what I did here. I added the Clone Wars Anakin head to the Vader body and used the neck as it pulled out. And it actually, well, his Adam's apple's in completely the wrong place, but I just kind of like situated it into the hole. And I think it actually kind of looks kind of cool in a way. So this could be like if he was transforming into, say, like the Sith Lord, but didn't fall in the lava and need all that those prosthetics and didn't get his hair burned off. Oh, hey, Razaf, how's it going? Oh, that's cool. So the Vader was kind of difficult, Kat. I'll just tell you. So when you pull the Vader head off, two things will happen. Either the head will come out and this ball will stay inside of the socket, or this whole thing can come off. If the head comes off, you could take a blow dryer and just blow dry into the hole and then get a pair of pliers and pull it off, and it will look just like that. It's got a big space for the ball to go in. And because the Luke here has the neck, or the Anakin has the neck, I just situate him in here like that. And I think it actually looks kind of cool. So I did that one sort of before just because I was playing around with the Vader. I wanted to see how that was going to work. Now, this ball joint is gigantic, so of course it's not going to fit on any of these other heads, which is unfortunate. And it won't even fit down in that like hole. But like, just imagine that's what this Anakin would look like if I figured out a way to get the Vader head on there. So I think that's kind of like interesting. So one of the things that I had done, and Salacious asked me yesterday, I don't know if you guys saw the Jungle Chat or whatever he calls his show. Sorry, Salacious, but he asked me why I started head swapping, and one of the ones was call back to the cave scene. That would be pretty cool. And I thought about, before I go on with that, I thought about taking this helmet apart and like maybe cutting it in some way and maybe putting this head underneath. Or maybe even one of the Farm Boy Luke's heads underneath, because I thought that would be like a really cool setup. Oh, really? Hold on. Okay, so let's check that out. Kat says the Galaxy of Adventure figures heads pop off really easy. So this is the Stormtrooper. Oh my gosh, look at that. Let's see. If I break them, it was, oh my God. Oh yeah, look at that. They do. Except for, see, what happened was I actually got the lower portion of the neck off. So I don't know what I'm going to do in that situation. Has that happened to you? has your son encountered this problem? But yeah, look at that. That's like a really small post, and you got like the Mandalorian head. These are the only two ones I have, so no, I can't swap them without going in and doing something different on that Stormtrooper. So I am probably going to do that. I have a couple of extra Vaders, and I'm probably going to make shifts like one of the helmets, because I have the one where the helmet comes off, and then I can do something with like cut the heads in half and glue them together, or do something weird. So going back to when he asked me why I do head swaps, and I was saying like it's because I can plus up my figures and do different stuff with them. And one of the things I was talking about was kind of doing something like this, which I think is kind of like a little bit different, right? To have in your on your shelf, to have Luke displayed. But also this is part of a double pack, this figure, and it was the Claire from the Luke Cage double pack, right? It was Claire and Luke Cage. They came in a double pack. It was super cheap. It was like I think like $14 for the double pack. So I took the body off of that figure, and I had this head lying around. And this figure does have glasses somewhere. I just don't know where they are. But I did the Cobra logo on the front, and I took one of my old Jyn Erso's holsters and guns, and I glued it to the leg, and I did a complete paint job on this black. And these are actually, they have the red in them. This is actually from the Spider Girl or something like that, the Spider Woman figure. And this was my stand-in for the Baroness when she was so hard to find at retail. But luckily, since then, I was able to pick one up. And of course, you see that she's standing back here. So she's subject to head swaps today. But this is one of the reasons, right? Like you do like these head swaps because you can make your own figures just by doing very little, like just a little bit of paint and swapping out the head. And if I could find the glasses, you could see it looks actually really cool for like a Baroness figure. And it's kind of was more in line with that movie look because the glasses have that like red tinge to them. And then I also did this head swap. This is the Elektra figure, which was the Jennifer Gardner, but I put it on this Inferno Squad trooper and tried to make her what that Eden Verso or that character from the Battlefront game when those figures came out. Those were a couple of head swaps that I did. Let's see. Hold on. I'm getting far behind. I know you guys are commenting. Yes, we were talking about that. He only has Vader and Finn, and he had no issues. That's great. Oh, I'd like to see the Finn on Vader's body. That would be so cool. Hey, Mark, Blue Harvest. And let's see. Oh, thank you. Oh, you know what? I know you're not talking about me. Okay, let's see. Salacious is... Yeah. You know what? So I got Salacious up here on my shelf. This is the only one that I have. And I thought about clipping that head off. I think it would make some really good like photos and stuff like that. But it's just not big enough to glue on another figure. So I'm probably not going to do that. But I might do a 3D printed head and stick them on maybe like a Jar Jar Binks or something like that. I think that could be kind of cool. Or maybe do like if I can find an extra Greedo figure, I can paint him up and then swap out the heads. Yeah. All right. So you guys know, if you've watched some of my other videos, I did a whole lot with these heads. These are two of like my favorite head swapping heads. I have been kind of leaving these two like on the shelf like this. This is the this doesn't stay on as well just because of the way his hair pushes against this collar, but I kind of like the way he looks, especially when I'll have him like on the shelf trying to impress the Baroness with his money burning technique. But this guy usually stands up with like the clones, And I got him usually up there with Ben Kenobi standing on the shelf, and they're just comparing their beards, right? And but subject to head swap if we want to head swap. So one of the things that I was showing yesterday in Salacious's stream was I was showing how I had gotten multiples of these. I didn't actually show them, but I got multiples of these Black Widow figures. And the reason why is because this thing went on clearance. It's like a really good figure. It's white, so if you want to paint over it, it's really a good. I'm going to turn this on and see if that helps. Nope, that doesn't help. It's a little extra light, but it's not really doing much. So this figure is pretty universal, I think. I mean, like you could take this belt, you can cut off one of the belt things if you wanted to have like a one gun. You can cut these down, you can glue them on another figure, and you can paint this pretty easily because it is basically a one color, which is really kind of cool the way that you can do that. So the other reason that I got this figure is because it came with like a phenomenal stand, in my opinion. And I have it somewhere. I have it here. I knew I took it out. And it came with this stand, which I think is actually really cool because it is one of the most dynamic stands you can get. Now, I did get some different dynamic stands, but that was one of the reasons why I got those extra figures. So the thing is about this is I wouldn't have like 3 of these Black Widows sitting on my shelf, but this outfit being kind of universal kind of fits in, right? So I was thinking about if I took this Baroness figure. I don't know what you guys think about this. Let's see. Could you do a Salacious Chrome X-Wing pilot? I could. You know what? I just have to figure out how to get the right size head, and maybe that's going to be coming in the future. And thank you. Despero is your favorite next to Boba Byrne. Oh, yeah, I got that guy on my shelf. Okay, got some more hellos. You have a spare Black Widow and Brothor heads? Yes, and now you know you can change all your figures around. Yeah, all the figures. I think figures should just come with stands, at least even that foot peg, right? Especially the lady characters are so hard to stand, some of them. And one of the prime examples is this Storm figure. If you look at like her boot, right? She's got these heels and stuff, and she is so hard to stand that she leans a lot on my shelf. But going back to this Black Widow figure, I was thinking, what if I think I showed yesterday a different one, but I thought about if I took that Baroness head off and stuck it on this Black Widow body. That looks pretty good too, right? This could be like a, you know, we already got that snow samurai ninja character, Storm Shadow or whatever, instead of a regular one for Cobra Island. So she could totally be like the Snow Baroness in a way. And I think it looks kind of cool. I don't know. What do you guys think about setting it up like that? If I was going to do like some sort of a snow scene. Oh, that's too bad. That's a great stand. You know what I like to use my stand for, Mark, is I use it for my Scarlet Witch sitting in the position where she's like floating and reading the book. The NECA stands are $10. Yes, I have a NECA stand. I got it just because it has those suction cups. And if you had seen my short video that I did for Storm when I first got it, I stuck her to my TV and I had thunder and lightning in the background. Yep, Arctic Baroness is what I was thinking. Well, I'm starting there, Salacious. Come on, give me a break. And then, hey, yeah, you know, I was thinking the same thing. Look at that. This could be your action figure, actually. Oh, you didn't get Wanda yet? When you get it, you'll use your stand. So then how would you use the Baroness figure? And I was thinking, okay, what if the Baroness went red and somehow instead of Scarlet being Scarlet, she joined Cobra and took over the mantle of the Baroness somehow. And then we can get Scarlett Johansson to dye her hair red again and play the Baroness in a movie, right? If they were going to do the movie. I know they already got a Baroness, so we don't have to worry about that. They already got that coming up. But here's a couple of different head swaps. They kind of change those two characters around. So I think that's kind of cool. And then I think what I did I do this yesterday on Salacious channel? I did the thing where I was thinking about how I might swap it around. And if I just wanted Scarlet to have a different head sculpt, this is what it would look like with that head on the Scarlet figure, which I think is pretty cool. And if I get that other one that's kind of like painted a little bit differently, then this is the first version of Scarlet, that I might maybe just keep this head on that secondary figure, and then you kind of plus up your Joes with like a different looking, and maybe you know, in the photos or whatever, they could potentially be like partners or something. So you got the Scarlet. Oh, and then, you know, we just completely swap all the heads around. And now we got the G.I. Joe classified Scarlet taking over the mantle of the Baroness. So I was just thinking about how to reuse all of those heads. So which one is better? Should I use this head on the Baroness? And should I swap that around and say, oh, what if the Baroness here was Scarlet? Can do that. That way you join the classified G.I. Joes. How's that one in comparison to having the other head on? And then, of course, then this head ends up right back on that figure, which is kind of funny. So we do a reverse double on those. Let me know in the comments which head swaps are best. See, now we're still talking about touching the figures. Come on. Accidentally. Oh, yeah, accidentally. Stroking. You guys are so funny. Yes, it was an accident. Paying so much for figures. Cool. Blue Harvest says you could use the spare heads for shorts. Salacious Rome. Ah, that's true, right? Home of the head swapper. Hey, I think you got your caps lock button on, because every time you try to capitalize a letter, it lowercases it. So you like Scarlet on the Baroness? Yeah, that actually does look really cool, right? You know, the other thing I think is like kind of interesting is that all of these ball joints have started to become like much bigger than they used to be. And it used to be that like the female characters had these gigantic balls joints under their heads, and the male characters had really tinier ones, from what I remember. But it was kind of interesting, and they were harder to pull off. And the thing is that kind of really throws things off is like you have a figure like this, and you want to use the head to swap it, and then you get like a peg like that, and so you know the hole in the head is way smaller, and there's just no way to be able to do a proper head swap without making modifications. And that's what ended up happening with this Jennifer Garner head. It's actually has that up and down motion, but it doesn't really have any side to side motion, because I had to glue it in there on that peg for it to fit. But it's unfortunate that they're not all Universal, and they're all Hasbro products. So I couldn't take this head and actually use it for another figure that I have out here today. But so I have this one. What do you think about this head on the Scarlet, and then maybe we just keep it like that. We just go Arctic Baroness, right? For that trio. That's pretty good. Okay. You can watch it all day. All right. Done with shorts until we get the app in the UK. I think you should stick with it, but it's totally up to you. They did not have the app in the US, the little shorts menu in the US when I put my first short videos up, just so you know. It was all like a test here in the States as well. And that's why I got so many views on that video from out of the country. That's why, like, if I look at my analytics on it, in the beginning days, it was like 80-90% in India and those parts of the world. And it was just, I mean, they were just gobbling it up at that time. Not gobbling up. They were just like, taking all of the media in, I think, at that time. And so it was actually really cool to be able to get so many views really quickly. And, it's kind of like evening out now where like I'm seeing like the shorts are blending in. It's about 33% that part of the world, 33% South America, and 33% about in the US is what I'm seeing. You know what? So this is kind of a gender bending, right? In a way, if you don't know, because this is the Inferno Squad Trooper, which I don't think was intended to be like a female character, but I did put the head on. And I think it's so close, you don't really like notice that there's any difference. I mean, they didn't make any big differences. So that's kind of like that. But I hadn't really yet. But if we want to see, I got another... Brothor, if there was like a what if story and Brothor ended up having to be the Black Widow. Maybe Scarlett Johansson couldn't make it for a couple of takes, so they asked Helmsworth to come in and shoot some scenes. That could work. And then maybe it's just because I'm using this body. What if, we throw Scarlett Johansson in the Clone Commander Wolf's outfit? And we wouldn't know because he'd put his helmet on. But it would be kind of cool if, like, there were more subtle ways you could do it. Let's see. Well, some of these I can't really pull off. Like, let's see what Captain America looks like. See what, maybe if she buffed out a little bit and needed to become Captain America for a day. Thank you. Oh, okay, I could do that. I actually have... Okay, so here's the thing is I only have this Loki. So this is the time variance Loki. And I didn't know what variant meant on his shoulder before, on his jacket before. But if I do the... let's see, her head is preventing this from going on. The shoulder, I don't have a... Well, okay, so part of the problem is when you got like a collar like this, it's harder to get stuff with like hair to like sit down. But that's kind of like if she was dressed to impress with her in her time variant jacket. And I'm having to try to hold it down so the neck doesn't look like large. Is this what you mean? I don't have a Loki figure per se, but what if we did something like... Does that work instead of Loki? A variant Thor? Yeah, okay. It's looking weird. All right, let's get away from that. But what if Loki was Thor? instead. And I know this is like a comic book Thor with like an actor's head on it, but what if we had instead a proper size head and we threw out Bro Thor in the traditional Thor outfit? Okay, we're talking about how Bro Thor looks like it. Yeah, he does. Oh, categories. Yeah, her head's too small for these, but like I think actually that one actually looks pretty decent, right? I think like so I think maybe is this because we're just so used to seeing Chris Hemsworth as Thor. So what if Captain America had to take up the mantle and he still wanted to hide his identity because we know he can wield the hammer now, right? Well, I'm trying to put this head on, but like if Thor and Captain America had to do like a merger, Thor had to do a stand-in, but he didn't want anybody to know he wasn't Thor, so he puts on the traditional Thor outfit, but leaves his cowl on. That could work, I think. I don't know. What do you guys think of that? I mean, it's something different, right? Than like trying to like pretend like, hey, we're just doing Chris Hemsworth on Thor. Let's see. So instead of the Bro Thor, if the God of Thunder had to come down and join the clone army with his long hair. Oh, yes. Or how about now Thor has to take over the mantle of Captain America? Captain Thor. I think we did this one once before, right? Where we did the Bro Thor. Oh, you know what we did? We did it on that future Iron Man Captain America, the one from the future where he's in the tech armor of the Captain America, and I did a compilation of Thor and let's see, Thor heading into the office. Captain Thor. Yeah, if he was bulkier in this outfit, that could be like kind of cool, right? So see, this is what happens when you start doing head swaps. You end up with a whole bunch of bodies with heads. So it's going to get kind of jumbled in here, but we think we're getting to be on a roll. I'm hoping. So anyways, I did get this new Black Widow figure, and this is the one that was on Amazon Prime Day. It came with like the motorcycle. So I do have a full review of this one that's going to probably hit my channel tomorrow, but I'll just give you a little preview of kind of what I did. Now this figure came with two heads. It came with these two heads. And one of the things that I always say about these Marvel faces is that I think that unless it's like a 3D print of an actor or something like that, I think they use the same face mold for pretty much everybody. And to prove what I'm saying is I got the Mary Jane figure, and I think if you take a look at the face mold, I'm pretty sure that that face mold is the same mold that they use for like all of their Marvel female characters. And the only thing that changes is the way they apply the paint and the hair. So I think it's pretty universal to just swap these around in a way. But what I wanted to do was we were talking about on 3 Minute a Monkey Lizard on Friday, the live stream we do. And Sean was like saying he hoped that there was an Iron Man version of the Black Widow. And I kind of like seconded that because I didn't think we had one. She was in that all black outfit. She didn't have these silver pieces here, but this is what I thought about doing. And I didn't do it completely on the review, but let's just take this Black Widow who has these pieces here. And if we pop off the hands, we can get those off, right? And I know now this is a hand swap. And I can put these wrist guards if I don't lose them on the carpet, which is what I usually do. Onto her arms. I'm doing it off camera. I'm supposed to be doing this on camera. I got to keep reminding myself. Okay, so then we put these pieces onto the arms, which would be like that. And then we'll put our hands back on. And this is kind of like what you would call like a kit bash, right? Where you're not really customizing the stuff. You're just swapping stuff around. And then we pop off that head and we go with the Scarlett Johansson head, right? I know she doesn't have that longer curly reddish hair that she had in Iron Man, but then we have more of the Iron Man version of the Black Widow with the proper head and face, or proper face, and maybe these proper arm pieces here. And we have more of the character that we were talking about just by kind of kit bashing a couple of figures that we already had, because we had this one just we didn't need to do very much. Now, the other cool part about these like heads and figures are the hair, right? It takes a little bit more to do, but I'm going to pop this head off and I'm going to show you. So like if you look in the back of that head, you can see the hair is basically just attached to the head sculpt by with glue and some other stuff. So this entire piece of hair comes up. So if I wanted to, I could pull, like, say, this hair off, which is actually a little bit longer and has some curl to it, and I can throw it on that head sculpt, because this head actually has ears, right? And the whole thing. So this hair should probably be able to fit on this head pretty easily. And then if I were to stick it back on this figure with that longer hair, I could have the Black Widow, right, in this outfit with the Scarlett Johansson's face sculpt and longer red hair, which I think could actually look really, really decent for having a kind of cinematic version of a Black Widow figure. So what do you guys think of that? That kind of a mod. Do you think I should go ahead and pull those hairdos off and swap them around? Let me know in the comments. So that's one of the reasons why I bought that motorcycle version of the Black Widow, is so I could do that head swap in particular. And it does come with this shorter hair version. So theoretically, I could just throw this back on here. I don't even need these, as a matter of fact, and throw these hands on. And then I have another version of the Black Widow in this kind of like white Arctic outfit, which I think is pretty cool. And then let's see, I got a whole bunch of figures out. Let's, I think I had done this before. And if I did a paint job on this Trooper's helmet, and to match that up, I could show you kind of what a clone Trooper would look like as Cobra infantry Trooper would look like as a clone commander. So I got that guy here, and then I know I have like a head lying around somewhere. What if once again Captain America was trying to infiltrate? All right, I'll do that. So hey, Attic Figures, how's it going? Thanks for joining. I don't know what this means. Is this your zip code in the UK? Are they different than in the US? 8008. I don't know what that is. Pull her hair. All right. Yeah, I will do it. I'm not going to do it right now because I'll need to get super glue and that type of stuff, but I will do it. So this would be like Captain America as a Cobra infantry trooper. He kind of loses his neck in this, right? Like it kind of looks funny because he's losing his neck. So I don't think that's actually a good fit. But we did do the Bro Thor on there before, and that one was okay too. I think this head is pretty universal. It does look like his head is a little bulkier than the body. Like he's got a big head for his body, so not really that perfect. But I think that this Bro Thor head really does just universally work for nearly anybody. I do have this little rascally rabbit, and I haven't pulled his head off yet. Oh, look at that. Came off pretty easy. And he looks like he had, well, maybe I did pull it off. He has like a smaller ball joint, so he's not going to be universally accepted around the table here. But you know who he could do a head swap with? He could easily do a head swap with the Scarlet Witch. Well, it's not that easy because his ball joint is a little bit bigger, but he could do the head swap with the Scarlet Witch, which I think is kind of hilarious. But like, I mean, like if I painted up the skin tones or whatever to match up the rabbit fur colors, I think that actually looks pretty cool in a way, right? So this Jackson figure is turning out to be like one heck of a figure, because I think that like when you see these like space aliens and stuff like that, you don't think much of them, but when you actually start looking at it and checking it out, it's like really telling. I mean, I'm surprised that Hasbro hasn't like realized how universally accepted something like this Jackson figure would be. And then of course that's Loki in some sort of a space outfit because he's traveling through time and can be anywhere. But this Jackson figure, the head is so cool that I think just putting it on any figure looks super, super cool. And this is kind of like there's a White Rabbit Marvel figure. And so like I almost think like this looks super cool in a way, right? And I think with like the red jacket and stuff like that, I think, man, that does look really cool. If this head were like really just more universally accepted, like some of these other ones, we could totally do some awesome head sculpts. And here's another one of your gender bending, right? Like, so that actually looks kind of cool, right? With that version of the Scarlet Witch's head, or not Scarlet Witch, but this version of the Black Widow's head on this Jackson's body, it does look kind of cool. Looks like this could be out of some sort of a made-up space film that Netflix will make and then claim it's the most watched movie on Netflix. Oh, did I say that out loud? Sorry. Oh, I knew that. Okay, so let's see. I think Kat liked it. Jackson, yeah. Yeah, Bro Thor does work with everybody. Let's see. Salacious and the Care Bear. The Scarlet Bunny looks awesome. Yeah, it does actually look really, really cool. If I had an extra one of these figures, I might actually sort of leave it because it does look pretty cool. Yeah, creepy? I think it looks actually pretty cool. This maybe a little bit more creepy, but this totally to me looks like a total like Netflix space film, something that Netflix is going to come out with next year, and they're gonna promo it and promo it and promo it, and you're gonna watch like 15 minutes of it before you turn it off. Scarlet Rabbit. Oh, that's a good name. Of course, Salacious. Of course, you would think so. Let's see. Jackson now, that's hilarious. Big ears. Yeah, I knew you were gonna like those big ears. And that would be the coolest thing, right? Like if they made this size, and I'm just saying this because Salacious is on here, but not really. But like if they made this size of a Salacious head, would be perfect, especially if they could make those ears the same as they make this hair, where it's a little bit flexible, so you know it's not gonna like snap off when you turn it, but then it still has some flexibility. That would be like really cool. Oh yeah, you know what? Maybe if I had that White Rabbit figure, because I think that one has a tail or something like that, or maybe on the jacket it has like a tail, but that would be actually really really cool. So I know I did a lot here with these, but I was thinking about this figure again. This is the Wolverine, and look at these claws. I mean, I really have him standing on the shelf, and these claws just don't get any better. I have a feeling that this figure is going to end up with different hands and just be somebody different. I wish. And the thing is about this hat, if I took this hat off, I think I'm going to have the same situation as the hair, where I'm going to have like half of a head that doesn't have any hair. He's going to be bald or whatever, which could actually be kind of funny, right? To have like Wolverine with a completely bald upper head, but hair around. You know, he's got the ring. That would actually look pretty cool. But I was thinking about, so we've seen the trailers for the Black Widow, and the Red Guardian in one of the trailers tries on his Red Guardian outfit. So this would be like Wolverine in his like prime in a way. And then I'm thinking like if I did like this kind of a head swap and I said, well, here is the older um, Logan trying on his costume and being super happy that it still fits. So that could actually be kind of fun, right? And you know what could be kind of interesting is not just a head swap, but let me just do this off camera to see how this plays. I think it's kind of fun to like sit around and like mess around with like the figures a little bit. The one things that I wish that like when they would make figures though, I really like that Moira character because she comes with different sets of arms so that you could take off like the jacket and put the jacket on, and she could have that. Because I was thinking like, wouldn't this have been cool if I could? Well, I could always swap the arms, but here is Logan with his trench coat sneaking in, right? But in full battle gear. Oh, the Squirrel Girl. That one would actually be pretty cool too. No, I don't have that one. I know she comes with that little scooter, and I kind of been looking for it. And one time I saw it on clearance at Target for like 20 bucks, and I was like, I think I'm going to get that. And then I ended up not getting it, and then it was not available anymore. So I think I'm going to wait, and I think I've seen it on Amazon where it goes pretty cheap. So if that happens, then I'm gonna, of course, I'll probably pick that up. But that's a great idea, as a matter of fact. Um, yeah, see, that one it would actually be really really cool. So I'm thinking about this, and you know what's interesting is I was thinking about. Oh, hey Brandon, I didn't see. There you go. Hey, hey, thanks for stopping in. Yeah, I saw her on clearance, and I passed it up. But so the reason I started thinking about this like Western one, and then I was thinking like, oh, okay, I took the jacket off, but I should have did this first. But here would be like the Wolverine wearing the mask, and he does look kind of cool even without the jacket. And maybe like I can do something where I just like I could paint this shirt to match this, so it just looks like he's wearing like some sort of a brown shirt because this doesn't necessarily have to be that jacket, right? And that looks kind of cool. He just threw on his mask and snicked out his claws so he could like jump into battle. Um, the thing I was thinking about doing this morning was I wanted to bring in the Cad Bane, and I wanted to sort of do like a swap out maybe somehow with Cad Bane and something with this Western because I think it looks really cool. And I think if I could figure out a way to make this like a Western character like Jonah Hex or maybe just another cowboy or a space cowboy, or maybe I figure out how to like throw on that jacket over a clone or something like that. And then if I can get this hat off, that could be like a really cool dueling sequence between these two. Now, I like this figure so much that I'm so hesitant to do anything with pulling this head off. And that's why he is not in the choose your own head swap. but pretty much everything else I think I could do. So if you guys have any ideas or want to see some mashups of characters, and if I have the figures um, accessible to me, which are in these shelves around me, let me know in the comments so I can grab some and pull it off, right? So some of the other things is like, it's kind of interesting is like, this is the Domino figure, right? And then this is, of course, Storm. And Storm comes with a couple of different heads. She comes with this one, which is where her hair is down, and this one where the Storm is wild. But I was thinking about this Domino figure, right? As Storm. Like if there was like some sort of like a mashup where people like ended up crossing over doing something else, I think that actually looks pretty cool. Yeah, Cad Bane's like too precious to me to like mess with in that situation. So I'm not I mean, one day maybe I'm gonna mess with it, but right now I'm not. But if I find like an extra one, this is that Comic-Con version. So I'm not that tempted to pull that off. But now that I did Storm with Domino's head, which I think turned out okay, I wanted to show if Storm took on Domino's personification. And I think actually, because we're so used to seeing the Domino with the hair, can you imagine like seeing Storm showing up, lightning and thunder, and a couple of submachine guns, right? That actually looks kind of cool. She looks kind of ominous there. I'm glad you agree, Cad Bane. Eventually, like if I find a second one, I'm definitely going to be messing with them. Oh yeah, you know, I can see that. So this is Domino's. Oh, look at that. I'm talking about Domino's, and that's what happens. I'm just going to leave these. But I did have this head too. This is supposed to be of Brie Larson, who plays Captain Marvel, and I guess she is always interested in being in Star Wars, so maybe she could play Clone Commander Wolf. No? Okay. So then who does she want to be in this scenario? Maybe we make her, maybe because she's Marvel and she shows up in Black Widow set in the past, so maybe she shows up around that time just to be a cameo in the background to throw out some good advice to somebody. Let's see. Guess if I did a little bit of a paint, we could have Storm showing up as in the Black Widow. And then, you know, this is actually kind of cool. Let's see. So does Jackson fit? See, Jackson won't fit in this on this one because of the punch is too big. You'd have to like modify that. So let's see. No, that's not right. So let's see. Any ideas, people? Clone Commander Brie. Yep. Boom. Oh, that could be kind of interesting. Yeah, the only problem is the only X-Wing pilot body that I have is the one that I use for the Carson Teva right here. And I had to make some modifications to this head, so I can't actually pull this off. But that would actually be kind of cool in a way. I know that she's always like, she was really happy when she went to Disneyland with her lightsaber and stuff. Okay, yeah, we can do that. She gets pumped up and she becomes Thor. Let's take Bro Thor's head off. Now, do you want the comic book version? I'm guessing, right? So that's Brie Larson as the comic book Thor with a really tiny head. You know what this reminds me of? Beetlejuice with those little heads. I think were they in the waiting room or whatever, and the guy had the little voodoo things with the little tiny heads, or their heads were really small, or I just remember something about really small heads on the bodies or whatever. So this is, what'd you say actually? You're still staring at that Jackson, aren't you? So that's Brie Larson's head on Thor. There's some mix up in the future, but then of course we're talking about cinematic, right? So of course she would be more cinematic Thor. Can you imagine that in the edit room? AG Force, how's it going? So can you imagine that in the edit room? That would be hilarious, right? They're just messing around. They're saying, hey, put Brie Larson's head on Captain America. Let's see how that goes. Maybe she wants to be Captain America too. I don't know. Some of these kind of look better than other ones, right? Like if Domino were Captain America. See, the problem is the neck is so big on this Captain America because he is so decked out. You need somebody with like a much, like their chin can actually hang down, kind of like Storm as Captain America. Okay, let's see. Yeah, well, I don't have a Lady Thor. That's the problem. And where is that Padme? Does her head come off? All right. So here is the Padme figure, the Black Series, and okay, so hold on. So here's kind of what I'm talking about, I think. All right, so the problem was it didn't just pop off really easily, and some of these heads have like a little forward and backwards deal, and those ball joints on some of the heads are so small that without like heating them up properly, you don't want to pull too hard because they will just snap. So unfortunately, that head's not coming off right now. Sorry about that. Scarlet Domino. Oh, yeah, we could do that. Of course, it's not going to be a perfect fit because what I was talking about earlier was the Scarlet Witch's ball joint is not the same size as the other ones, but like if that's the way it would be, that is actually pretty cool with that hair, right? That's a pretty good outfit. I just change the hands and throw those guns in her hand. She doesn't need that magic power. Okay, Jackson as Captain. Oh, yeah, you know what? That could actually be kind of interesting, right? And where the heck did I put Jackson's head? Here it is. I did not do Jackson Captain America because what I was saying earlier is, so when I pulled the head off on Jackson, this hole is not the same size as most of the other pegs. So unfortunately, for some of these head swaps, some of these figures, they won't be universal, but you can always see kind of what he would look like by holding the head sort of at the top of the neck joint. So this is kind of what Jackson Cap would look like without making modifications to the hole, the peg hole, right now, because that would take some time. I have to go get my Dremel out, and then it would be kind of a permanent fix. there is Captain Jackson. Almost like Action Jackson, but Jackson. Okay, let's see. Then faster, more. Okay, you guys are cracking me up now. Ears flailing and flapping. Put back Jackson. We want Jackson back. Oh, Black Widow. So we got two different versions of the Black Widow, right? So this would be the Jackson. And of course, it doesn't fit on this one either because the head, the ball joint is super big for that figure. And the Jackson is a small, but that is what Black Widow Jackson would look like with a head swap. Now we're talking about this version of Black Widow. And then we also have the Black Widow that came with that bike, which I did that head swap. And we can always throw Jackson on that version just to sort of see kind of like how he looks in black, all dressed in black. So which one's better, this version or this version? If I were to get another Jackson and make a permanent swap here. Do it. Okay, that's a great play on words. There are kids watching. Maybe. Do it. Oh, you should have been drinking with a straw. Oh, what are you talking about? Like a roadblock, Jackson? If he was a G.I. Joe classified? Dun, 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 dun. And who's to say, Grief Karga had to be kind of human? Wasn't he originally going to be like an alien? What if he was Jackson? Right? That's kind of cool. I know everybody liked this version, though. I think the black outfit Black Widow looked pretty good, too. I am going to do this like hair swap on this head, though, eventually. Just because I think this version actually looks pretty cool. And then, let's see. Army Building Jackson. Yeah. You know how hard they are to find, though? I mean, I had this Jackson on pre-order, and he's never going to ship, apparently. But I was able to get him at GameStop. He was like on the shelf when I went in there. And so the only one that I don't have now is the Darth Maul, which is actually the one that I wanted the most, right? Did I do this Captain America as Thor, comic book Thor as Captain America? I think I did already, right? Yeah. All right, so let's see. And then I did steal this Iron Man head for this Iron Man for one of my short videos. This is the guy that comes in the suit. Oh, you know what? I have that version of Iron Man, the suited version, and I put the helmet on. Oh, waiting on Luke? Yeah. See, that's the one let's see. Hold on. Your GameStop order is just waiting on Luke. Now, I didn't order the Luke. Let me see if I can find him up here. Because what I did was, well, you probably know if you watch my videos, but I took the Dagobah Luke from the Dagobah playset. He was like $10.97, readily available on GameStop at the time. And I just painted him what I thought were like the colors. Now, I know I didn't get the little force sensing, whatever animal it's called, the salamander thing or whatever, but I think the Luke looks pretty good. And I can pull this Luke can pull his double duty in a way because, well, see, this is the weird part is like some of these figures, their heads are super hard to like come off. And it's like one of those things where it's like, I don't want to pull too hard because then I end up breaking them. And then what am I going to do? You guys saw what happened. If you watched the live stream, you know what happened. I had Captain Marvel in the green outfit. I have the body here somewhere. Oh, here. And I just went to go bend the arm, and the elbow was cocked sideways or something. And when I went to go bend it, it just broke, right? But I am working on fixing it, so pretty soon that one will be functional again. But the thing is, you have to sacrifice figures to fix figures a lot of times. Right, Jar Jar and Jackson, and that Jar Jar was great. I mean, like, it's unfortunate what they did with Jar Jar Binks because they had him in that deluxe pack for like $29, and I thought that was a great pack because he came with a shield, all kinds of stuff, right? The spear, everything. And then what they did was they immediately almost released that carded version of Jar Jar, which had almost no accessories, and he was the same price. So it left those other Jar Jars on the shelf. And just recently, you guys know that I like to shop at Goodwill. I just picked up 3 of them from Goodwill for like $20. So they should be coming probably in the next couple of days. I'll have 3 more of the deluxe ones with the shields and everything. And I have a little bit of a plan. I might turn them into my own Knights of Ren, but the Jar Jar versions, and I think one of them is actually going to become like a custom something. So we'll see what happens there. Oh, good. Did you how did it turn out? Brandon, you're saying that you painted a Luke to practice. And how did that turn out? Let us know. Yeah, there you go. Everybody wants to know. Please tell us. Unless, of course, there's a full-on video coming of your first paint job, which would be really, really cool. Okay, so I got another head swap coming. And somebody pick a head really quick. A universal head, something that's maybe, okay. In the interim, we'll just stick with Bro Thor because he's the everywhere head. Let's see. And I took this guy, which is Quill, and he's stuck on Bro Thor just because I pulled him off my shelf really fast. And then I thought, oh, what am I going to do with Quill's head? And I'm thinking, like, what if Quill were Captain America? Oh, you know what I should have did? I should have made him Thor since I'm using Thor's head. That actually doesn't look that bad. The head looks appropriately sized, right? I don't know if that looks weird to anybody, but can you imagine Thor running around with like a little pilot's helmet on with his goggles on his forehead? Kind of funny to me. There you go. Hey, dude, give me my body back. Let's see, who else can we stick on this little dude here? Oh, I got it. Maybe he decided he wanted to be, he's going to join Cobra, and he's trying out to be an infantry trooper. And then, of course, because we know he likes to tinker, and he was able to rebuild that robot, I'm thinking that what if he was given enough opportunity or stuck in the desert being held by a group of Jawas, forced to build some sort of like weaponry for him, but decided that he is Iron Man. That would be great. You know, and it almost fits, right? Because he was kind of like the Tony Stark of the Mandalorian because he was the Tinkerer. He rebuilt IG-11 and stuff like that. So he theoretically, if given the right opportunity, could have built his own Iron Man armor. I don't know. What do you guys think of that? Let's see. The Knights of Bombad. Yes, it was, right? He just swings his hammer and he's flying. He's got those goggles flying around. I actually think he the perfect size. Okay, let's try that one. Of course, it's not going to fit the ball joint, but we can always see how he looks as a rascally rabbit. There you go. Hey, what's up, Doc? Let's just move this back. Oh, you know, there is a way that we can modify this to fit because I don't think I can do it right now because you need the blow dryer. But where is Jackson? Oh, I have Jackson's body here. And oh no, see, some of these figures come with like a neck that pops out. This guy doesn't have a neck that pops out. So if the neck popped out, I could have pulled that neck and threw this one in there. But that's kind of Quill as Jackson as Quill. He's a little short dude. Maybe proper for his stature to be only like half the size of a regular person. That actually looks pretty cool. This head is fairly universal too. It's too bad that the ball joint is not as universal. Yeah, the Cobra Trooper. Well, looks kind of cool, right? Quill wearing that Cobra Trooper helmet. Dun, 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 dun. Beta Ray Quill. I don't think I have a Beta Ray, so can't do that one. I'm so sorry. Yeah, a little Iron Kid. And you know what's funny is like there was a comic book that came out back in I think the late 80s. It was called Iron Man Shame of the City or whatever, but it was the issue that was assistant editors month. So they had the whole first half of the comic was a bunch of kids running around in New York or wherever pretending to be superheroes, and the Iron Man kid wore a pot over his head with like the eye holes cut out, which was kind of like a really cool comic. And then the last half was this whole thing about Tony Stark binging, getting drunk and stuff like that. And then of course, if we had Captain America Quill. You got the Iron Ugnaught, yep. The Thor body. Oh, okay, I get it. I get what you're saying. I'll show that one again. Yep. And I think it's kind of interesting because this almost looks like it's the proper stature. And if we take off this, we got like almost like an older version of Nick Nolte, right? Because I think a lot of the it was just Nick Nolte, right? Like face under like, was it like makeup, you think, or you think they just did the special effects to make him look different? Because that actually looks kind of cool, and he looks ripped. So he doesn't actually have to be wearing these, but I think it's hilarious that he is. That the kid was actually playing a young Peter Parker. I don't know. Did they? Yes, it does, oddly. Let's see. So I think I started this thing off with, I'm just going to show this again for all the people who showed up late. I did do this custom, or not this custom, but I did do this one just to show it off. I just show it off a second time. This, I took the Clone Wars Luke and I stuck Anakin, and they stuck him on like a Vader body. I think it actually looks pretty cool. So all those that didn't see it, what do you guys think about that? You think I should leave them on the shelf like this, or should I put Vader's helmet back on? Because I'm thinking real seriously about just leaving it like that. I think it looks really cool. Okay, so I did not hear about this, but that's cool. Really? Now I know they had James Gunn's brother or something walking around being Rocket Raccoon, right? It was just Bradley Cooper did the voice, but the other guy actually did all the motion stuff, like walking around in a little green suit. So is that what you're talking about? Thank you. Can I torch it? No, I was actually thinking about because I actually have this version of Anakin, which has like the red eyes and the scar, and I thought about doing the head swap with this one, but the problem is, well, you know what? I bet maybe I can do it because that other Anakin. This is what I was talking about earlier. So you pull like some of the heads off, and they come with like their neck. So the newer figures have that like lower joint in the neck, and they also have one up here. So some of them, right? So it gives them a little bit more flexibility. And so like theoretically, like I couldn't have done it before with this figure because this figure, this lower neck was stiff and it just had that one ball joint which snapped on the head. And the reason why this comes off so easily is because it was a head swap in the package, right? It was the one with the red eyes and the scar, and then it was the one that's like normal. But I have two bodies, so I have both versions on different shelves. So I do have probably this extra head somewhere. So theoretically, I could pop this out and put that other head on that joint, but I just didn't want to go digging through a box. And the thing is, with Vader, he doesn't have the proper neck or ball. So basically, it's just that neck is just fitted into that little slot like that. And you sort of have to like set it up yourself so that you can still see the neck and it looks pretty decent. So yeah, I could torch this, or what I could do is I could probably just take like a Dremel to a portion of it. But then how much do I take off? Do I take off like most of the hair? Do I have to do that? And then I'll break out the paints and I'll do the paint. It's similar to what I did with the Boba Fett's head when I made this guy, right? Like, so this one right here, I added like the scarring and then did the painting on it. So I would do something similar with that Anakin head. But I almost kind of like him looking super clean in that Vader outfit is one of the reasons why I haven't like done it yet. Okay, I'm gonna check those out. I haven't really watched any of those like how-tos. I watched the one where they talked about the little environment. Those are those extras they talked about, like the shows. I really only saw the one where they were talking about the big green screen thing that they built around it. And I was thinking to myself, like after seeing that episode, that like they make so many like dioramas and stuff for figures that eventually we're going to get to a point where we have this like these foldable type screens, or the transparent paper or the foldable paper. Have you guys seen any of the videos from the tech shows on that? Can you imagine being able to like plug in like a poster board size flexible electronic paper, and then just being able to like pop up a picture of a background or something, and then just set it on your shelf, say behind your figures and stuff like that, and you'd have like, you're basically, instead of like a cardboard cutout, you'd have this diorama. And if you could have it like one of these like electronic photo frames where like the pictures would change, and you can like load 3 or 4 pictures. You could take a shot of, say, like a background, and then a shot with like a lightning bolt coming down or a laser blast and an explosion. You can put them all in sequence, and you can just have that like kind of like rolling on repeat, and you'd have this like diorama on your shelf with like maybe this like battle scene kind of like going in like a slideshow behind them, but it would look like a background. I think that would be really cool. And I don't know, maybe I should do a GoFundMe and try to like design it, but I'm not an electronics designer. So if anybody's watching and that's what you do, that's what I would buy. Yeah, you know what? The thing is because these, yeah, I agree. If I can find one, right, like that I can use. I really liked these clone figures. This one is probably like my favorite one because I think this has one of the best Kenobi head sculpts. And then Anakin is probably my second, but I was okay with pulling that head off and putting it on that Darth Vader today because I know I can put it back. But here's the thing is I don't know if I want to at this point. I think I like it like that. So I may end up like leaving that as is. And now I just got to figure out what am I going to do with this headless dude? And I got to find a figure that has like a neck. So it's not like I can just stick any head on there. Oh, can you imagine that? That would be actually really cool if they actually end up putting him in the suit, because like if it's for the Kenobi show, right? Like he should theoretically already be in the suit, and because it should be clearly after the battle that him and Kenobi had, because it should be like a rematch. Because my guess is that he's going to be closer to Tatooine and like guarding Luke in a way, right? Is that what the premise of the show is? I mean, we don't really know, but that he's kind of playing like obstacle run or something like that, or maybe at the end of the series we find out why Vader never went after his son on Tatooine, because something that happens between Kenobi and him. They come to some sort of an agreement or something like that. Jar Jar's head and neck on Anakin's body. Okay, thanks. Have a great day. Thanks for stopping by. Okay, so let's see. I don't think that's going to work with Jar Jar's head and neck, because you can see that like his head up here and his neck is really, really thick. Now, I haven't done this yet, but okay. So you can see what happened here was the ball joint is down in the body, did not come out with the neck. So I would have to get some pliers and pull that out. But since we got him, we can always just sit him on top of there and see what Jar Jar would look like. Okay, hold on. They mentioned that Kenobi won't be on Tatooine the whole time, so on the show. So I'm very intrigued. Yeah, me too. I'm gonna have to I'm trying to stay away from like all those types of spoilers, but that's fine. That's not gonna affect too much of how the show unfolds. But I have a feeling that there's gonna be some reason why Vader never went to Tatooine to grab Luke, because obviously he knew about him, right? So obviously there's got to be some sort of like an agreement between Kenobi and Anakin. So yeah, that could actually be pretty cool. All I do is get that like ball joint out of there, right? And then I can have Jar Jar on there. And then let's see. I know that Salacious was into that other one, but what do you think about Wanda Jar? I don't know. That doesn't really work. But that's that actually worked with that little peg hole, which is kind of interesting. And then I guess since we already have, if we can just get the neck, we could do Jackson as a Jedi, right? Actually, you know, so this outfit right here would probably also could also double for one of Padme's like soldiers, the guards or whatever. Because didn't they wear something very similar to this? I keep thinking about that guy with like the hat, and he had something like this kind of an outfit. Maybe it was a little bit more intrigued, but this would be kind of like interesting too, right? All right, so I think everybody liked this version. I think it's kind of cool. Yeah, if I can find that white rabbit, I think I'm gonna look for that one or the squirrel girl and see how that goes. And maybe I will pull that peg out of there and see how this one works. For a while, that could actually be kind of cool. And then what if he was maybe, well, he wouldn't be a clone commander, but he could like be infiltrating the clone army as a clone soldier. Maybe he gets promoted to clone general, general of the clone army, right? And then what do I do with old Jar Jar here? I need another neck. That's the thing. So you keep pulling the necks off, and the next thing you know is Thor, an amphibious creature with like this red spherical lightsaber. I don't know why I gave him this lightsaber. This belongs to the second sister Inquisitor, but I think that looks kind of hilarious to me. Oh yeah, Bail Organa, right? Had that same outfit. Anakin decided he wanted to crossover, become like a, have to get the neck. All right, so you see what happens here when you start doing head swaps. You end up with a whole bunch of figures, a whole bunch of heads. They're like lying all over the place, and don't know how you're gonna pick them up. He's just got to start reassembling them. But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? All right, got a cover for a coworker. All right, do it. All right, so originally I was going to go for about an hour and do head swaps, but it seemed like people really enjoyed it. So I really do appreciate you guys sticking around. I did pull out Hunter today because I was thinking like, what if I could do a head swap on Hunter? And then when I pulled off his head, I actually pulled off the neck too. So that's kind of an interesting setup, right? Like, okay, so what if like Hunter were, I just put Hunter on Luke's body. That could work too. And then we got this other clone, and then let's see, put Jar Jar's stuff back on. And then this would be like maybe the idea of where Jar Jar is a clone trooper, right? And he thinks on his own, super intelligent, maybe super tactical version of Jar Jar. And I do have a peg, so maybe I could get it to stick. Now, this peg is not big enough for this head, so I would have to actually swap it out with like Jar Jar's. But what did I do with Hunter's head? This is what I was saying. Like, then you got Hunter as Jar Jar. Spent a little bit too much time out in the sun, got a little bit of acid, got some burns. Let's stick this back together. So let's see if, and his neck came off, so there's not a whole lot I can put on there. Have to be another figure with a neck, but that is Hunter. And then did think about this for a little bit. What if the Black Widow wanted to like infiltrate Cobra, and she went as an infantry trooper. I can always paint that helmet white, and maybe that face mask. That could be like a snow gear, or I can paint this outfit blue. That could work too. And then problem is it didn't actually sit in there, so like the head, that the little socket joint is not the same size on those. Let's see. So let's say Wolverine needed to go get dressed up to go to a party, and we got him going to work, but he still wants to protect a secret identity, or he's going to court to explain why he clawed somebody when all they did was tell him that he looks silly in his Western jacket and hat. And so this is how he shows up for the office. And then, or do we decide that because he wouldn't wear like a dark blue suit, right? Do we go with, he just goes more casual because he's not a fancy dresser? And then what if Captain America, let's find that Captain America head. This is actually a pretty decent universal body. This is the Iron Man that came with the armor. Did he leave the Captain America head on one of these figures is the problem. I should have put all of the heads in one spot when I took them off. That would have been the smart thing to do. Okay, does anybody remember who had Captain America's head last? Okay, let's see. you didn't like it? Okay, let's see. I gotta stand up for this. Okay, so I had Captain America's head. So, I mean, that's not clickbait. Come on. All right. I had a Captain America's head. You know, I thought that was going to actually look really kind of cool to have Captain America's head on this suited body like he has to go to court. Oh, it's on Quill. Look at that. So imagine like Captain America, you know, he's going to sign the accords, but he doesn't want anybody to know his secret identity, so he has to show up with his cowl on. But they told him, "Hey, you need a suit." Who's uglier? Which one? Yep. I do needs a yard sale. So I can buy more figureheads. And then, of course, we got this version of the Black Widow showing up for court. She wants to wear her suit too. I'm almost thinking like this works out way better, right? Like you got, let's do this. We got Captain America and Wolverine showing up to sign an agreement that the two teams are going to work together. But you know what? This actually doesn't really work out because I don't think that Wolverine would actually be showing up to sign an agreement for the X-Men. I think what we really would be showing up is this guy right here. I think we'd have to have Cyclops show up to do all the signing and the agreements, and then they'll shake on it. And the next thing you know, the Avengers and the X-Men are starring in their new Marvel theatrical release in Phase 20. I guess that could work. Now that I got Cyclops' head, let's see if Cyclops should join the Clone Legion. Can you imagine? He wouldn't even need this gun because he could just run around shooting everybody with his I-beam. He just look at you funny. And then earlier we were talking about these crossovers. That one work for you? Let's see. envy. A stormtrooper helmet on the suit and tie body. We sure can. So what we'll do here is, like a regular stormtrooper, let's do that, because we could use, let me find one. Okay, so here's a stormtrooper, and this is, oh my gosh. This is going to be a problem because look at this. So the stormtrooper, the newer stormtrooper, has this other neck style. So like that would be a stormtrooper trying to be a Jedi, right? But I have an alternative that we could use besides that because I can't get that off. So I do look for figures that are so that Captain Carson Teva I bought from somebody online, like it was an online auction for a 3D printed head. So I didn't 3D print that, but I did paint it. And he sent me these 3D printed Stormtrooper helmets, or this one probably was like a test. Man, the lighting on that is really bad. So here's what I'm going to do. So I put the Tony Stark head back on here, and I'm going to stick the Stormtrooper helmet on there, and I'm going to swap these cameras around because the lighting I think is better here. So here is the Stormtrooper on like the suited body. Now it's not one of the Black Series heads because I couldn't really get one off. I couldn't get that one off properly to be able to stick it onto the peg, but I think that actually looks really, really cool. And if we wanted to, we could totally stick it on the other one also because he's a variant. So which one do you like better? The brown jacket variant version or proper, like he's going to a regular business meeting? And then if I give him a coffee cup, because everybody drinks coffee, he could sit at the water cooler on a break, drinking his coffee, telling you all about what he did for the weekend. Yep, we went down and we just blew the crap out of a couple of cities on some strange world for no reason at all. Because Imperial Stormtroopers, right? We just attacked. Let's see how that, see how the lighting is just washing out the face on this like Stormtrooper. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I think I like that one. Raw on the bone. Stupid meetings, right? You could always rewatch, man. All that popping and snapping makes your knee joint. You know what? Every time I pop off, I have to feel my leg too. So, yeah, I almost think that was actually a really good suggestion there. I really liked it. At Comic-Con, there's a guy who comes all the time, and he wears like a suit, and he would wear. Does he wear the Stormtrooper helmet, or does he wear the Darth Vader helmet? He always comes in like some sort of a helmet mask, but he always wears like a suit, which is like, I think that's what it is, a Stormtrooper, right, in a suit, and he's always asking questions in some of the halls. Good. Okay, neither burn. Just give up. Neither one? You don't like them? Okay. Nobody's here. Oh, with the destroying planets just because they're part of the Imperial Army? Or is it looking at the headless Jedi because he was swinging his lightsaber around, right? And then forgot to move his head. I don't think any kids would be scared by this, honestly. I think they would think it's hilarious. So everybody seemed to like Wanda as Jackson. So if I can get another Wanda, or maybe if I get the Squirrel Girl, we'll see how that turns out, and maybe we'll end up leaving like Jackson's head on that. People did like this Quill, right, as Thor. I mean, with the helmet or without the helmet, which is better? I do like somebody saying that he could pull those goggles down when he's like flying around to keep the wind out of his eyes. So that was kind of funny. I just think it's hilarious to see him with this like little aviator cap, right? And then of course we did, I lost the gun, but we did Storm as Domino Storm. And then of course she toppled everybody here when I started talking about dominoes. We swapped out the Baroness for Arctic Baroness. And then we went ahead and did, well, we did this version. Did we like this version of this Scarlet, which is the one with this cinematic head? And then we did, where's the other G.I. Joe? Oh, and then this was the Baroness, but it was the Scarlet as Baroness, right? So these are we're getting into reruns now. So looking for some more ideas for head swaps because I pulled out all the figures that I had ideas for. I do like this one. I think I might leave this Stormtrooper helmet on this figure for a while. That actually looks kind of hilarious. And then let's see. So I know we have Old Man Logan, but what if Old Man Logan were Captain America because they signed that agreement where they were going to work together? Captain America wants to be a trooper. And then we did, of course, Domino as Storm. I think it looks good because the hair is perfect on that. And then, what if Iron Man got a little bit older and decided he wanted to go country or Western? So we got Old Man Logan finds Iron Man's armor. Let's see. Oh, it's getting more ridiculous. Yeah, look. Okay, we got Bunny Love, and Neil says this is getting more and more ridiculous each second. I mean, we're trying to have some fun here, people. And this has been a lot of fun, and it's something very different. Hey, I appreciate that. The Wolverine mashup in the coat. Okay, so this was the Wolverine with the coat, and then do I put the... You like it like this? Or did you like it with the country, the cowboy hat? Because we can go back to the cowboy hat. Because it's kind of like sneak attack, right? Like he's sneaking in somewhere. Yeah, you know what? I think that is actually a pretty good mashup for this figure in a way, right? So you got Old Man Logan putting on his original outfit and then wearing his hat to sort of sneak in and then trying to hide his uniform with his jacket. Paste. I'm not eating paste. And then, like, let's see. So Quill is Thor, right? The actual Quill is Thor. And so the Quill maybe should be Wolverine? Do we like Wolverine for Quill? Or do we agree that Quill, because he was so mechanically inclined, that he's a better Iron Man? Yeah, he could totally be like if you were doing some sort of a video on that Wolverine or something like that, that he comes in and then the jacket comes off or the mask goes on. So we'll just, I think Iron Man Wolverine, right? Because I think it's more of a fit. See, and this is like, they don't all perfectly fit. So you just have to like kind of figure out how to like if you're going to do like a photo op or something like that. You just got them situated. And then maybe this Wolverine goes into the suit. Maybe not. We'll figure something out. And then I do have this Ant-Man that I didn't do anything with yet. So do we go variant Ant-Man? Do we do Black Widow Ant-Man? See, this is not that like weird because theoretically anybody's head could be under that helmet, right? So anybody could wear that helmet. Which would be kind of interesting is if we could figure a way to have like hair coming out from underneath the helmet, and then it will actually look even more like something happening there. So let's do this. I did like this. This was he's a little bit too tall, but we got which head do you not want on Quill? Oh, AJ just shows up. He says, no, get that head off of Quill. I'm guessing you're talking about the Iron Man head. And if you didn't like that, AJ, you're not going to really like Quill on Thor either, probably, right? But I think we've all agreed that this is the new Thor. You weren't here for the vote, so unfortunately the vote has been cast. Are there any other figure mashups you don't agree with? Do you not agree with Storm as Domino? Or Domino as Storm? Yeah, I think they're turning out pretty good, right? Like, I do like this. I'm going to leave this just like this. So thank you for that. That is actually, I'm actually going to paint that helmet too, so it actually looks appropriate. Or maybe I'll steal one off of the Luke in Disguise, because I'm pretty sure I have Luke in Disguise. And then you got Captain America, of course, right here. Let's see, Cyclops. Let's figure out. See, this Jackson body is pretty universal. I think that we've determined that he can be pretty much anybody, right? Like this Jackson figure could be anybody. And we had like Black Widow on there earlier. Yeah, the problem is, see how like the post is up there, but the hair just gets in the way. So it's like you can't really set that very well. But there's Domino with Jackson, and that looks like really cool. She could be, I mean, if these were like spacesuits and you had all the characters, like I was saying earlier, these are all the characters for a Netflix sci-fi movie that's coming out next year that they're going to hype. People are going to watch 15 minutes of it, and then it's going to be the #1 watched movie on Netflix. Or it could actually end up being like really, really cool, and everybody will be into it and be talking about it, and then there'll be a sequel. This guy's supposed to be in a sequel, right? Like, did his movie do this? Chris Hemsworth, did his movie on Netflix do very well? And we were talking about what if Hiddleston actually got cast as Thor, actually, right? And then they said, no, you don't have to dye your hair. We would like a dark-haired Thor. And so he gets to be Thor for a day. Or do we go completely different and say, once again, the short-haired Black Widow is Thor? I think we'll stick with Hiddleston. And then let's see. So we did like a couple of mashups. What if we did this one where the Cyclops is actually the red-haired Black Widow head? Let's see. Quill is Iron Man. I think it's perfect because Quill was kind of like the Iron Man of The Mandalorian in a way. No, I don't. It is funny. Yes. Storm Domino. Looks good swapped. Yeah, I think that was actually a pretty good swap. So here's the swapping of, I think we're going to leave him kind of like this because I think it actually looks kind of cool to have that guy like that. we'll maybe leave Iron Man with the head. I'm trying to set these up as I go through them again. Wolverine, Iron Man. We got, so we did do the Arctic Missions Baroness figure. Then we did, let's see, let me get Quill over here. We did the Captain America clone commander. Iron Man as a stormtrooper. We did this version of Scarlet, where we swapped out the head for this Black Widow head. We did this version of the Baroness, where we swapped it out and put Scarlet's head on there. I think that we'll kind of agreed that looked pretty cool. I think everybody was in agreement that this Jackson head just looks awesome, like on a figure like this. So this is, see, this is the Domino effect. Should have never brought up the Domino figure because I knew this was going to happen. And Domino's nowhere around. She's just using her abilities to make this happen. I know she doesn't have Domino abilities, but all right, I'm not going to do that anymore. But anyways, I think everybody agreed that this Jackson head looks really cool on this one. And, you know, like I got that review that I'm coming up with this week. It's going to be of the Black Widow figure. And I did the head swap on this one to sort of make it more like Iron Man's version of the Black Widow from the cinematic, because we didn't actually get this version of a Black Widow figure. We were talking about that last week. And then the other one that I did was I added the clone Anakin to the Vader body, which I think is actually kind of cool. And I've got some suggestions in the chat to maybe try to like damage up the face a little bit. I'm going to think about that, but for sure I'm going to leave him probably on the shelf like this for a while, just because I think he actually looks kind of cool in this outfit. And then I got some bodies here with like no heads, and I was kind of hoping to put Carl Weathers' head on Roadblock, but the toning didn't really match and stuff like that, so I'm not going to really follow through with that. We got, if Chris Hemsworth were to get smaller, he's still cut. He can be this version of Wolverine. What I'll probably do is paint this up so it just matches these sleeves, or figure a way to swap out those arms with somebody who's just as muscular and maybe doesn't have those blades on his hands. But that was the Chris Hemsworth version there. And then we got this like Loki, and I'm still trying to figure out the perfect head for him. Should he be a Cobra Infantry variant? Should he be well, we already decided we were going to give Iron Man to Quill, so I don't think that's going to work, because Quill's going to get the Iron Man helmet. I guess I could give him a different Iron Man helmet. But anyways, I think I'm all out of head swaps, unless you guys can think of any more. Let's see. Hiddleston on the Thor body. Okay. Superman vibes. Yeah, you know what? If I had like a proper Superman figure that I could swap out with these, I would definitely do it. And the Scarlet Black Widow head swap is your favorite. So that is the this one, right? This is the Scarlet Black Widow. Yeah, I think it actually looks really, really cool. Who played the Baroness in the other G.I. Joe movies? It was Sienna Miller, right? And I think she normally has like blonde hair, and I think they did something to make her hair dark for the movie, because I guess just by cartoon and comic book, the Baroness should have like black hair, I guess. But I don't think there's anything that really says that has to be the case. But I think actually this looks kind of cool too, where like if you're doing a whole Arctic mission set, you get like this version of the Baroness in like an Arctic mission, so you can set her up with like that who's in the Ninja Guy Storm Shadow. That's the only Arctic missions that we've got so far. So we did a lot of head swapping today. We did about 2 hours of head swaps, and I really appreciate everybody who came by to take a look at them. I had a lot of fun. I hope you guys had a lot of fun, like going through and like just head swapping figures. This is kind of like answers the question. So yesterday, Salacia said, "Hey, why do you swap heads on your figures?" And this is kind of it. If you guys had fun, I had fun, and I had a lot of fun doing it. And you know what? It was actually really great to like hear what people wanted me to do, because it was one of those things where it was like, I do head swaps and stuff like that on my own sometimes, and I just trying to think of like how I would change a character and stuff like that. But it's fun to like just swap heads around and see how they look on different figures, and to see like how those figures would look, or how they might be like different, and how you can see them different. And it's almost like somebody said, casting my own movie for the future. And so I'm hoping you guys had fun, and I hope that when you get with your figures, you know, just swap some of the heads around and see how they look. I really dug like doing those G.I. Joe videos that I did where I swapped out the Old Man Hawkeye and the Old Man Logan heads onto some of the G.I. Joe classifieds, because it really made me think like, yeah, you know what, this is kind of what this guy would look like if he was more my age. I know I don't have gray hair and stuff like that, but I do. You just don't see it. I'm like Sienna Miller, you know. She dyed her hair for that movie. But anyways, I don't dye my hair, but it's hidden. So but you know, it's fun, and you get to like mess around with your figures. You get to see how they would look if they were like a little bit different. You don't have to follow the exact mold and stuff like that. And you know, part of this is, I'll kind of share this with you. Let's see. I used to draw comics when I was younger, right? And so one of the things that I did, let me just swap this around, is I would have like my own comic book characters. And so these are some of the ones that I drew when I was little. And like this guy right here is Robot Man, right? And he's kind of like a full-on robot. And I'm sure he's just like Iron Man. You know what I mean? I had this guy who was Telekinetic Man. He can move stuff around with his head. This was, you know, Mr. Supersonic. He's, of course, in a wheelchair. So I wonder who he's like designed after. You got this Kung Fu guy who's the Kung Fu Kid. He's obviously Shang-Chi, right? And then you got Laser Man, who shoots lasers out of his eyes. How convenient is that? Not like any characters you've ever seen in any comics or movies at all. But as a kid, you know, that's what some of the stuff I was doing. So swapping these heads around is kind of like an addition of that, where it's just about like having a lot of fun and doing something different with these figures. They don't always have to be like exactly how they came out of the box. Well, for some people they do. And for those, I apologize that I had to like swap some heads, but I did. Okay, it was Sienna Miller. Yeah, the White Baroness in White looks cool. Thank you, Kat. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. Professional supervision face off. All right, so anyways, I'm going to go, but I really appreciate everybody stopping by and spending some time with me on the stream. And thanks a lot. I really appreciate it. Have a great day, everybody.